I think we just have a great way of, again, meeting the kids where they are and understanding that that's just who they are right now. That's not who they're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, we can base that upon our own experiences from growing up, just whatever environment you're in. If you got the right people in your corner, that environment, the impact of that environment will take a back seat to the impact of the person who is pouring into you in that school every single day.
Right.
So, Coach D here. I'm a post-secondary and workforce readiness coach, author, and speaker. And I'm empowering educators, inspiring students, and transforming schools one conversation at a time. Welcome to Coach D Wants to Know, the podcast where we dive deep into all things post-secondary success. Whether it's career readiness through college, trade schools, the military, apprenticeships, or entrepreneurships, we're talking about it. This podcast is for school leaders, counselors, business owners, parents, and students who want to exploit every opportunity behind high school. Because when we know better, we guide better. So let's jump in and uncover the possibilities together because Coach D wants to know. It's Coach D here, empowering educators, inspiring students, and transforming schools one conversation at a time. Today's episode is so special to me. It is extra special because I have the privilege of sitting down with someone who has been a part of my life for a number of years. She was a student. Now she has turned family. She will always be a part of my life. She walked into my classroom as a student and one of them wild students back in the day too. One of those wild students. And today she is walking the halls as an assistant principal. So she's sharing with the next generation. She's turning lives around. And this is a full circle moment for both of us. And I couldn't be more proud. Today, I am going to introduce to you the amazing assistant principal, Shay Smith. So Shay Smith, welcome to the podcast. Coach D Wants to Know. So tell everybody just a little bit about you because we will get more in detail as we go through the podcast.
Well, I'm Shay Smith. I am an educator and assistant principal in the Greenville County School District, originally from the small town of Tarboro, North Carolina. We moved to this area when I was about 12, and I absolutely hated it. But now that I sit here today, I truly understand that God had a purpose for my life, and He wanted to put people in my path to get me to where I am today. So I guess we'll get more into that story later, but that's who I am. So I strive each and every day to just be a better human and to be a better assistant principal so that those around me can succeed and grow, and hopefully I have an impact on their lives.
All right, that is awesome. That is amazing. So we're going to go, I guess, through the timeline. So we're going to go back from high school and to where you are now. So we're going to start with the journey. Reflections on high school, that journey that began for you. So let's take it back a moment. I got my questions here for you. When you think about your high school years, what's one moment or experience that really shaped you for who you are today?
So I guess I could talk about when I started to, open up to certain teachers around me. I think it maybe started in 9th or 10th grade with Daniel Green and Katie Smith. And I was always very shy, very quiet, very introverted. I tell people to this day, like, I'm naturally an introvert, but I have worked so y'all can get to know the Shay that my family knows. But like, I was just so shy and I had a lot going on at home. I just came to school to get my work done, to figure out how to get to the finish line and figure out how to change my life from there. But I don't know, I guess one day I just started opening up, and then God did the rest of the work. That's really kind of how I started blossoming and getting support and just being fed into and poured into. And that's probably where it started. I think that's a very vague memory, but I do know that at those points is when things started to kind of align and happen in my favor.
Right. And you said a little bit, but I know that to be true for a lot of the students that I work with, whether I was in South Carolina or in Georgia, where I am now, that is that beginning to find somebody in the building that you can trust. And that does start to open up. I can right now picture a student in my class right now, because I went back into the school system. I'm no longer in school leadership from the traditional leadership, but I'm leading within this building in a new role that has been created. And so I have this young lady, and all I do all day long is help all the students from 9th through 12th grade figure out what it is they want to do after high school, and make sure they got a true plan, whether it's enlistment in the military, enrollment, entrepreneurship, and whatever it is. We make sure they have a true, real plan, not just a wish or a fantasy, but a real plan. And this one young lady who, like you said, is going through a lot at home, and one of the scholarships we were writing, it was to write about adversity. And just to know that she trusted me enough to share the real story with me, that really meant a lot. And just to see, and I see her all the time, and just to see how she just because she wrote it. Now, before that, very quiet, very in the corner, not really saying anything, not, but the shell has been broken, even so much that she's going to find her brother in the school, who I don't teach. She's got a twin brother, and brought him to introduce him to me, because she feels that safety net. She feels that trust in me as well. So I wholeheartedly get exactly what you're saying. And like you said, God placed you where you needed to be so that you could in turn give to others what was given to you.
Right.
That's definitely true. Definitely true. All right. So did you ever see back then? Because I don't know if I remember you ever telling me you were going to be a teacher.
I didn't.
Was like, now, okay, she's cheering, she's doing all kind of other stuff. I don't remember you saying that you were going to. So what switched, and how did you, what made your path, I guess, detour?
So I tell this story all the time. So, okay, senior year, Katie Smith had a book of math careers from A to Z. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew growing up, I knew I needed, let's start with my grandparents. My grandparents always rewarded me with money when I did well in school. So to me, that connected doing good in school to I'm going to get money. And then as the older I got, I connected doing well in school to changing my current circumstances. Okay. But I didn't know how to do it. Like, I knew I could go to college. That was something she talked to me about. Mr. Green talked to me about. Angela Holder, now Abercrombie, talked to me about. Ms. Young talked to me about, but I didn't know the steps to take to get there. So I guess I needed to choose a major once I figured out what college I was going to. So she gave me that book, and I opened it up. The first thing it said was accounting. And so she was like, well, Miss Daniel teaches accounting. How about you take that, and then you'll figure out if you like it. So I took your class and absolutely loved it. And so I got into accounting. And that's what I started at in Clemson. Before I got to Clemson, towards the end of our senior year at Berea, Leo Dindy told me I was going to be a math teacher. He said, you're going to be a math teacher. And I looked him straight in the face. I said, no, I'm not. I don't have patience for those bad kids. Just like, and I blame him to this day. So, and I think he even wrote it in my yearbook. So anyway, I get to Clemson. It's first semester. You have to be a pre-business major. So I'm taking all of those classes. I had an economics class, and I didn't love it. I think I had like a B. It wasn't clicking for me. And I felt like I needed to do something that I was going to love. I knew I liked math, and I knew I liked people. But I never connected the two to just be a math teacher, because in my mind, I don't have patience for those bad kids.
Right.
So we had a business class one day. I had prayed about it because I was like, Lord, I'm making it. I'm doing well. It's hard work, but I'm just not feeling it. So I just need you to help me figure out if this is it or if I need to switch. So I had a business class one day, and they had an accountant come in. First words out of his mouth was, if you don't have a good grasp of economics, you shouldn't be in accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as my answer to my prayer. And I said, okay, so if this is not what I'm doing, what am I going to do? And I knew I wanted to help people. That was always priority. And I didn't want to go into something like counseling because I hated reading and writing all the time. So I said, well, I guess I'll be a math teacher so I can do for other kids what my teachers did for me. And then that's how I got into it. But if you had asked me then, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I know that for sure. I was like, okay, so she's rising up. And I mean, it's a beautiful journey. And like I said, I'm not going to get too far ahead, but we will get there. But it's a joy. I'm teaching kids right now. We just finished our career project. Again, where they're trying to figure out, and I'm trying to get them to understand your why, your motive, what's going to make you get up every day and love your job. It has to be more than money. Yes, we all want to make money. We really need to make money. Money is essential, but it is also essential for you to have peace, love, and joy every day. Now is education, stressful? Yes. But at the end of the day, I believe the people who are in it for the real reasons do lay their heads down knowing they did everything they could to make this world a better place.
Yes.
So it kind of ends up by the end of the day, with whatever you use to settle your nerves, I think you relax at the end and say, I did all that I could and I'm pleased and I know God is pleased with me.
Right.
All right. So now we're getting ready to start a little bit of fast forwarding. We're going to move from high school. We're going to move from you being that student in high school to becoming an educator and this call for leadership that you have. So my question is, fast forward to today, you're an assistant principal. What else besides, the journey through Clemson and finding out accounting really wasn't for you and the economics and things like that? What else inspired you to really move towards assistant principalship or leadership within a school? Because some people go in and they're teachers for forever and they're just as content and they're happy at that. Some go to instructional coaching maybe, but you've taken that huge leap to leading, being second in command in some situations, depending on who's out of the building. So what inspired you to take that leap?
So every step I take is never something like, I didn't sit down at the age of 20 and say, professionally, this is where I'm going to be at these times in my life. Every step, every next step, because I don't know what's after what I'm doing now. Every next step I take is a moment I have, a thought I have, and then I'm talking to God about it, and then I figure out what's next. It's something he places on my heart every single time. So I never thought I would be a teacher, yet there I was. And then year 3 of teaching, I was on the yellow hall upstairs. That's where my first classroom was at Berea. And my kids were taking a quiz, and I'm just walking around doing my normal thing, just looking at what they're doing, make sure nobody cheating, seeing if anybody has questions, all that good stuff. And I just thought, I think I can do more. Out of nowhere, I don't know where it came from. I was just like, I think I can do more. Because to be honest, I never liked school. Like, I did school well because it was a stepping stone that was necessary, but I hated school. High school, college, all that. Didn't like it, but I needed to do it. So I did it and did it well. So year 3, I said, I think I can do more. So then I said, okay, so if I'm going to do more, what is that going to look like? And so 2 things that popped in my head that I was familiar with was instructional coach and assistant principal. And so I had to think back to why did I get into education anyway? I love math and I'm a math nerd. That's secondary to me. It was all about the kids. So I said, okay, I can be an assistant principal because I also recognized I had a superpower with a certain type of kid. The kid that nobody else could really get to sit down and do what they were supposed to do. The ones that had the struggles at home, same struggles as me, maybe more. I could connect with those children. And I knew that in the assistant principal role, I would meet them a little bit more because they're the ones getting rolled up. That's going to be in your office all the time.
Yep.
So I knew I would have more exposure to that type of child, which is why I'm in education. And I also knew that I would have an opportunity to be able to be a voice for those kids, connect communication between that kid and the teacher they might be struggling with, and also helping the teachers be able to support those students more and understand, like, these kids come to this building with things you can't even imagine in their mind. So I'm not saying they're not supposed to sit down and do their work. That is the expectation, but I need you to understand that you have to be there for them, build that relationship, have a conversation. It's literally that simple. Have a conversation. So that's kind of how I got into that role, to support those types of kids, knowing that I could do well and also be able to be a voice between that child and teachers.
Right. I can definitely say we have those two things in common. We are called, and we do have this superpower. I don't think I've ever called it a superpower, but I do know that we are called to a certain kid, and we really identify and relate. I tell this story often. When I was at this school here in Atlanta, my first school here, an assistant principal just, like flew through the door one day. And they were looking for this kid who was in my class, and he was just over there in the corner doing his work. And like, if you could have just saw the expression on her face, like, because they just got some kind of Mayday like referral sent in from another teacher, whatever. And he's just over there. It's quiet. He's doing his work, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And so she was like, "What? How?" And again, it's that superpower, because I think we just have a great way of, again, meeting the kids where they are, and understanding that that's just who they are right now. That's not who they're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, we can base that upon our own experiences from growing up. Just whatever environment you're in, if you got the right people in your corner, that environment, the impact of that environment will take a back seat to the impact of the person who is pouring into you in that school every single day.
Right.
So yeah, I think we definitely have that. I've got some kids even from Berea. I have all of my, you remember when y'all would do the I don't know, it might have been Miss Holder who actually started this. I'm not sure, but they would do the little green and yellow bubble paper, and y'all would write a note to your teacher and everything. I still have every single one of those from Berea. I have them all. I keep them. And again, there are kids in there who were not doing well in my class, but they understood the situation, and they knew why I had to hold them to their feet to the fire, just like everybody else. You've got to get it. You can't slack. There is no way that I'm going to let you on my watch slack.
Right.
So, I think that redirection under the umbrella of love is so much more powerful than sitting there as an educator and just paying more attention to the actions that they have during that particular moment. Another question I have here was just talking about your call to that you now pay forward with your students and teachers. We've kept in touch over the years. I've seen you grow into this phenomenal leader. That mentorship and that relationship building that you had in your life, how do you pay that forward with the students and the teachers that you lead?
I think it's very simple. I just be who I am. And I really I immerse myself into their groups, and it only takes one. So if you connect with one child, you can connect with everybody that they're connected to, and then those kids are connected to other groups. So I stay in their business. I tell them that all the time. You are my business. When you're in this building, you're my business, and I'm going to stay in your business. And what they don't understand is I stay in their business, so I know what's going on, so I can be proactive in keeping them out of trouble. Yep. Also, in giving them comfort to just come to me and spill, and me giving them advice on how to handle stuff at home or in the building. And that is probably when I see those nuggets start to kind of blossom a little bit. that's when I remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because like you said earlier, this job is very stressful. It's very stressful. It's very overwhelming. If you let it, it will take your joy. It will take your peace. It'll have you questioning if you're doing what you're supposed to do. All the time I question, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I'm a smart girl. I can go do something else, make a little bit more money, and not have to bring my work home. Right. And then I get that kid. I pray about it. And then immediately God will send that kid that will pour their heart out in my office. And I'm looking at them like, dang, I'm talking to Shay right now. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm here. I'm talking to Shay right now. I'm talking to a kid who is literally struggling with the things I struggled with. Where there is, I had a kid come to me about 3 weeks ago, literally said she had a plan to take her life the day before she came to school. Had to spring into action on that. I had another student not too long ago that got caught with something that he should not have had. And I mean, I had to give it to him. I had to give the consequence. I had to do my job. But in that conversation, he started spilling his heart. And I'm like, let's get you some counseling, honey. Like, so that's what I needed when I was a teenager. I simply just needed somebody to talk to process my emotions and my thoughts and all the things. So my job, again, the referrals, the IEP meetings, the, observations and feedback, all of that for me is secondary. Those are just skills that I have and am growing and am doing well at to be able to do this job every day. But the reason I come into the building primary is those kids and me trying to impart things into them, knowing I'm not going to see the fruits of my labor tomorrow. Right. But I'll see it in 5 years when I walk across the stage, when they send me a message saying they're going to college, when they send me a message saying they got promoted on their job, they're having a baby, they're getting married. That's when I'll see the fruits of my labor. But it's really hard when you know what you're imparting, and it's going to be a while before you start to see it. But when you have examples, because this is year 11 for me, when you have examples of the things that you have poured into kids and you have seen it and you've touched thousands maybe at this point, but maybe it's just a little bit that you see. It matters. That's why I do it every day for the kids that I have impacted.
And I think you just totally described where I am right now, even with you all. When I transitioned from director of financial aid and to the school, it was I know it was all God. It was the craziest circumstance. And one of your other classmates, she tells me all the time, her favorite teacher left, and I came and she had to figure out who this woman was in her favorite teacher classroom. And so Miss Virgil had decided just in the middle of the school year that she was going to just up and leave and pursue acting. And she literally resigned. And I had been toying around with trying to figure out how to get into education. I tried in Georgia back then, a number of different ways, but it was just so many hurdles. And then my sister had been teaching in South Carolina for years. And so she was in the Anderson district, Anderson 5. And so she told me that there was a program there called the PACE program. And it's an alternative route to certification. And she was like, try it. And so I applied, got in, had a job. I was teaching in December. I mean, at the end of December, I knew I would be teaching at the beginning of January. And it was just so wild, so crazy and everything. And, but you all were my first babies in an actual setting in classroom. And like you said, to see where you all are now, like when I was in Greenville a couple of years ago, I'm like, look, I'm in Greenville, find everybody that you can to come over so we can meet. And it's just amazing to see how everybody is growing, going and moving into their own people, and y'all are impacting this world in such an amazing way. So I get exactly what you're saying. When the time comes, those seeds that you planted because I've told everybody, all the teachers that I do PD for, all the administrators, when I'm trying to talk to them about their new teachers, sometimes you're the soil, sometimes you're the seed, sometimes you're the water, sometimes you're the sun, sometimes you the rain, whatever the case may be, you just do your part.
Right.
And the process will take care of itself. Just do your part with everything that you have. And again, the process will take whatever route that it needs to take to come to where it needs to be. So I appreciate that with you. Again, I've had kids for years, and I know my place in their lives, and I'm trying to be the one that totally does all the saving. I just need to do what I'm supposed to do for the season that they're in my life, and I want to be able to do it well.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah. So let's see. Did I cover everything about relationships and mentorships? Yes. Oh, here's something. Do you have, and I know Miss oh God, I'm gonna say her name wrong. Why now? Angela Holder. I don't know why I couldn't get the last name. But I know the significant impact she had on your life. And I know how was it to have her as a teacher, to have her as a cheer coach and everything, and then to come back and be in that building with her. And if I know you ended up being the cheer coach as well, right?
I did. She gave it right to me real quick too. Oh my God. It was so much, it was fun, but it was still impactful. Like, and I think her and I did a really good job with balancing still Shay, but Miss Smith as well. Because she, she still, even as a teacher, I was still going through stuff. And that's what I think people, and I try to tell this to my kids too. I think people don't realize teachers are humans that have things going on at home, just like you do. They have bad days too, but we expect them to leave their stuff at the door, come in, take care of everybody else, and then leave and still have to pick up that same stuff. So even now, as an assistant principal, I'm dealing with stuff. So that was really, I'm glad you asked that question, because I never thought about it. It was God ordained for me to go back to Berea. Not because it just sounds good and I'm teaching at a school I came from and I get to impact the same types of students that I was, but so I can work with the people who helped me as a student, knowing that I was still going to be going through some of that stuff and learning how to navigate that as an adult now, not a teenager, but as an adult who has to learn boundaries, saying no, all of those things. Like, I'll never forget, there was one day I was feeling down about something going on with my sister and her kids. And I just had a breakdown. And at that point, I wasn't even, tears didn't drop from my eyes. That's how much I held stuff in. But that day, they came flowing like the Niagara Falls. And her and Miss Smith closed the door and just let me cry and said, let's pray with you. I needed that. So loved her when I was a student, loved working with her as a teacher. She helped me to grow instructionally as well. And I love working with her as a coach. And then, she passed the baton to me. She went on to her next step. So it gives me chills just thinking about it, because I just love them so much. Yes. Like, I feel like I'm their favorite student. I was their first child before they even had kids, all that good stuff. Like, I go to the baby showers, the weddings, their family knows me by name, all that good stuff. So yes, that was great to work with her. And it was sad when, she had to leave, right? And Miss Smith left. And then I felt like I was by myself for one good year, but then I ended up leaving as well. Right. We carry a lot of that stuff that they imparted in me and still impart in me until this day. We meet up every year and eat for my birthday. I still reach out to them on the regular. So I just love them so much.
That's great. I think I feel the same way about Dr. Roach.
Oh, Mr. Roach.
He knows he's gonna get a text from me, an email, a call, or whatever. When his son was in traveling basketball and he was there, I actually would get to go see him there because he was on this side. But we stay in consistent, constant, just connection, consistent, constant connection. That's what we have together. And we laugh about it because when he did my interview, I don't know, it was something about him and his love for students, the way he led his building. Hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. That was everywhere in his mind. And I tell him, I laugh about it. I know I was so comfortable in that interview with him that I slumped down in my chair. I mean, I think I was just relaxed, like we at home on the couch. And I think when I told him, I had to straighten back up and remember, like, you're in an interview, man.
Right.
But I was so comfortable and I was so at home. And, like you're talking about what Holder and Swift did for you, he did that for me. If I had an idea, because you remember I did the virtual enterprise there at the school. He was like, okay, just write it out for me. What does it sound like? What are the kids going to get from it? How is it going to impact whatever idea I had? I don't care how crazy it was. He was like, what is it going to do for our kids? And so I could put it out and I would tell him, and he was like, all right, go for it. I'm literally out during the school day shopping for real company office furniture. We built a whole room that was a whole office space. I had Quentin as the vice president of sales. I had we had marketing, we had a CEO, we had a real live conference table, and had kids rolling around from cubicle with their little headsets on. It was crazy. But he was like, if it's going to give our kids an opportunity to be greater, to see what life looks like outside of this building, and to be able to do it in this building right now, he was like, I'm all for it. Right. And so I've always, and I tell every principal that I work with or work for, that he set the bar high. So when I'm working for someone or considering to go to a place, I'm always measuring their leadership against his. Because for where we were in Greenville and what we were considered to be, there is no way if we would have fell into the perception of that school in that area, there was no way that we were producing the great kids that were coming out of there going on to do great things. It wouldn't have been possible. So he didn't let what the outside people were saying or what they thought about our school affect what we had on the inside. And so that, like I said, that type of leadership is something that I always strive to do. I want to be that type of leader always. When I mentor, when I do PD, it's always about, me going back to the mindset that he would make sure we knew the neighborhoods where our kids were growing up, not just, hear about it, but we would see that, we would know, so that we would be able to understand who was coming into our rooms that morning, and to understand that some of them are their house. We are their safe place. We are, the thing that gives them roots. And for us to make sure whatever we were imparting in them was more than just academics.
It's funny you say, I love Mr. Roach. Oh my God, I loved him so much as a student. And even when, I was teaching and coaching, and he would come to Berea back to the games, I always went and spoke to him and gave him a hug. Even when his son was going to TR, if I would be there, I would go over there and speak. So, but it's funny you say that, because it took me some time, but I started to understand that I also have an impact of relationships and mentorships with the adults in the building. And I think getting into this position so young, I didn't think just how impactful I could be with adults. But I figured that out my first year with first year teachers, just working with them with classroom management, because that was something I was always good at. But even to this day now, so like the teachers that I work with at Fountain Inn High School kind of pick on me a little bit, because I'm always calling the students my babies. They are my babies. We are doing what's best for the babies. Okay. But the more I do this job, like, the teachers become my babies too, even if they're older than me. Like, they're my babies too, because I love being able to give them feedback, a sentence, 2 sentences, give them some time to vent in my office, or come to me for a solution, and whatever the case may be. And I get a thank you, or Miss, if you don't know how much you helped me, thank you so much. Da, da, da. Like, that's important. Like, that's important to me, because I have the kids, they're my babies, but the adults in the building that I'm striving each and every day to lead in the best way possible have also started to become my babies. And if you like really think about where I was before I got here, that's just, I would never imagine, because I tell people all the time, people get on my nerves. Adults tear my nerves up. And I would much rather just be in my corner and just hide from the world, because I just, that's another story. But to know that that person, like, it took me years. Once I decided I was going to be in this role, I said, Shay, you cannot stay to yourself. If you are going to be an assistant principal, if you are going to be a leader in the building, you have to form genuine connections with adults, not just kids. Yes. So from then, I shifted how I approached people that I talked with. Walking down the hall, how you doing? It wasn't like not no normal, I'm fine, and going about your business. Like, no, like, really, how you doing? Like, getting to know people and not just keeping it surface level, because I feel like you have more of an impact when you move below the surface. So it's funny you say that about Mr. Roach, because I feel like I'm wanting to start to try to be that person for adults now.
Right. And I think, especially you mentioned new teachers, that is so important, especially right now, baby. They will leave in October. They won't even wait till December like Miss Virgil did for me. They will leave you in October. And I'm a huge proponent of new teacher mentorship programs, and I often say that they have to go well beyond just checking off the box thing we have. And I like you're helping them with classroom management, because in any teacher program, for me, I had great mentors when I went to Berea. That was one of the things that he was very adamant about, that we mentor our teachers, that we give them the help and the resources that they need so that they can be strong. Because again, I'm coming straight from corporate to the post-secondary and the college level, from there into the classroom. So, I mean, I always say I had classroom management skills, because I had 5 kids of my own and I had to manage. So I had classroom management skills, but to be in the classroom setting, learning all of that, the pedagogy, learning the curriculum and everything all at once, because with the PACE program, you do kind of sort of start teaching on day one, as long as you got the credentials. So there you're learning on the fly. But with my new teacher mentorship programs, and when I do PD for them, I'm very, very, very vocal about it not being a check off the box type situation. We need to keep these new teachers. We need to keep them in this for more than the 3 to 5 years. And we do that by helping them understand that there is not a chapter 30, page 49 that can tell you what to do when you get cussed out.
No, it ain't.
It's not in the books. It's not in the books when they tell you, something going on with your hair today, or, it's not there. But when you build these true relationships with these kids, you'll understand how to have that conversation in love, because some of it is true what they be saying. You just didn't want to hear it from them that day. But but you understand how to give and take and have great relationships with these kids, so that when they know that you truly, truly have their best interest in heart, they will really run through walls for you. And that goes back to, again, I was telling you that AP busted into my room. Kid is over there doing what he's supposed to do. That was because he had a relationship. Now, did I know that he was going to get an A in every class? Definitely not. Definitely not. He might not even pass every class, but I was able to get him to have some true understanding of how to behave in a classroom. And for him, that was a win. And we need to make sure we celebrate every win that these kids are going, and truly recognize them for the strides that they are making, because some kids are truly coming from situations that are not good.
Right.
for them to just be in the mindset, like you said, the young lady contemplating taking her own life. We cannot always be about academic. We have to meet those other needs first. And even, even in coaching, what it takes for an athlete to be a good, true athlete, it takes a lot. But when they know that you have their best interest at their best interest heart, they will run through a wall for you. Your students will do the same for you in the classroom as they will do for these coaches if they know that you really care for them. So I definitely agree on that one. All right, so let's talk about how far Assistant Principal Shay possibly wants to go in education. So you've gone from student to teacher, from teacher to AP. What is your next level for you in education? Do you see yourself as a principal, maybe an assistant superintendent, a superintendent? What do you think?
Absolutely not. No, I can't say that. I really can't. And so I'm gonna give you the same answer I give people when they ask me in interviews. Like, right now, no, I don't want to be a principal or anything else. Like, I'm good where I am. I feel like I want to be a jack of all trades in the position that I am in. I don't think I can be great at everything, but I would like to be knowledgeable of everything. So there are still some areas I want to grow in. But like I said earlier, I'm not like I got a plan. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. That's not me. I think if I ever left this position or school or district or whatever the case may be, it would be for one or two reasons. One, I want to go to a specific school because I believe, or someone else believes, I'm a solution to a specific problem.
Okay.
Or I could potentially be open to going back to a school with a similar type of demographic of the school I graduated from and taught at. But I don't think that's something I want to do anytime soon. But I'm not saying I don't think I would just chill forever. Now, in regards to the next position, I don't know. The Lord gonna have to visit me in my dream. And say, my child, you need to take the next step. People, and I've had people say you would make a great principal. Thank you so much, but as of now, that is not something I'm trying to pursue. But Miss Daniel, who knows? In 5 years, you might have me back on this podcast as Principal Smith, and I'll be sitting here looking crazy.
You move the way you're supposed to move, and that's what I like, because you do get a lot of people who say, I got to reach this by this age, this by this age, this by that age, and sometimes they get there and they did not get the training and the knowledge.
Yes.
Like you said, learn a lot about everything so that you can be knowledgeable. And so when they get into some of these positions, they don't know how to do or how to move in the spaces to be effective. And they end up burning out too soon, or they burn out the people that they are leading.
Right.
The other tends to happen. All right, so I'm going to ask you this last one. We're talking about the future education. This is how we're going to close this out on this question. Okay. If there were no barriers, and I'm talking about funding, and we're in a situation right now where funding is like, I don't even know what to say. Politics, there are no politics, and time was not of any type of impact. What is one big change you would love to see in education?
Oh, that's a good question. One change I would like to see in education.
Remember, funding is not an issue. There are no politics on anybody's side. Time is not any.
Honestly, the first thing that popped in my mind was more mental health counselors. Because being where I am now, I am an advocate for therapy. I go on the regular. I encourage my kids to get it. I encourage my family to get it, all that good stuff. But I won't even say we need to put it all on them. I just think there needs to be more people, whether that's more teachers that would decrease the classroom size. There just needs to be more space for more people in buildings so that we are impacting kids a little easier because you're not having to reach the masses, but also because there would be more of a shared responsibility, I believe. And then I feel like that mentorship and relationship building would just come a little easier and I think that would alleviate the stress too. Because when you're thinking about as a teacher, one of the things we freak about first at the beginning of the year is classroom size. And let's not get into an inclusion class. Okay. It's not that we don't have or can't develop the skills to be able to manage what is going on in the classroom, but there's only so much one person can manage with the time and energy that they have. So that's not even a deep answer for real. I just think we need more people, and we need to pay these people more so that we can get more people. And then, I mean, to me, I think that would be a great start.
I love that one because again, I have my little board up here that I wrote down everything God told me at the beginning of the year, so I regularly look at it. And that's one of the things that's up there is back to the basics. We are doing so much stuff in the name of advancement. We got to go so fast and we got to cover so much.
But
I truly believe, again, smaller class sizes, like you said, offers the opportunity to get back to the basics and build solid foundations. And we're not micro teaching so quickly and just hitting portions of standards and but expecting grand results on these assessments at the end. I think we would have the relationship building. We could take more care of adults' personal needs as well as the students' personal needs, because most of our teachers are called to be a counselor, a parent, a teacher, all of that, all in one within that small amount of time that you have these students. And then if you got to be all of that in one person to all of your students in 45 minutes or 90 minutes a day, it's tasking. It's very tasking. And again, somebody's always going to get the short end of the stick. Some days it's the students, some days it's the adults. So I totally agree. So again, this conversation was powerful. I am so excited for your future. I'm so excited for the impact that you're already having in your students along the way. I could not, as I stated earlier, I could not be more prouder of you. Me being able to have you on this podcast that's talking about education, again, it brings me full circle. It's a reminder of why I do what I do and how I pour into people's lives, knowing, and I don't do it to see, like you said earlier, the immediate impact. I do it because I know it is going to create an impact, and I know that, and I trust it, and I believe it. So again, I am so thankful to have you on here today, ma'am. And to all these educators and anybody else that's listening today, remember, the students that we pour in today may become the leaders of tomorrow. So please know that what you're doing, it matters. It means something. It is important. Keep showing up. Keep inspiring. Keep leading. Until next time, when I come back to you, I need you to definitely remember that together we can empower, we can innovate, we can lead one student, one teacher, and one leader at a time. So again, thank you so much, Shay.
Hold on, Miss Dare. I got to give you your flowers too, honey.
What, babe?
I want to thank you for helping me and all of my classmates, because they still talk about it to this day, believe how powerful words are. You remember your quote wall? I got a quote wall in my office, and I have favorite quotes, and I'm always talking to my kids about having a quote that they live by. So I
told my kids about you just the other day. I told them y'all named me the quote lady.
Yes. But I have a quote and I live by it. Do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Daniel.
You're welcome. Again, thank you all for listening. Until next time in our next episode, this was Coach D with an episode of Coach D Wants to Know. That's a wrap for today's episode of Coach D Wants to Know. I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and opened up fresh possibilities for the future. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Also, check out the resources available on my website, keystoneinstruction.com. And remember, the journey to success has many paths. Let's make sure every student finds their best fit. Until next time, together we can empower, innovate, and lead one student, one teacher, one leader at a time. See you soon.